Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. It's going to be a good one.
It really is. And you know how sometimes you just get thinking about the randomest things?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Well, recently I was just thinking about perfume.
Perfume.
Yeah, and like, when do you wear it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a special occasion thing, or do you got to wear it every single day? Or are you like, nah, I don't do perfume?
You know what? For me, it really depends.
Yeah.
Like, some days I'm feeling it. Some days, not so much.
Totally.
I think it just depends on, like, the mood.
The mood, yeah, for sure. Are you a perfume person?
I mean, I have my moments. I like certain scents.
Right.
Like the whole idea of it.
Yeah.
Like the history and all that.
Yeah, and you know what's so wild is I was reading that in some parts of the world, wearing fragrance isn't just about smelling good.
Oh, really?
It's like considered polite.
Wow.
Like, can you imagine showing up somewhere and someone's giving you the side eye because you're not wearing perfume? Like, where is that? I'm so curious.
I know, right? It's like scent as a social grace.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's actually what we're diving into today.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, we found all this really cool information about perfume.
Oh, huh.
Like the long history of perfume, how it's shaped different cultures, and even some of the debates about whether we should be wearing it.
Ooh, that's juicy.
It is, right? So get ready, because we're about to take a fragrant trip.
I love it.
Through time and across cultures, just for you.
Okay, so to really kick things off, let's go way back to the beginning.
Okay.
When we talk about the very first uses of scent, we're looking at ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia.
Okay, got it.
And this wasn't just about smelling nice. There was something bigger going on.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah. It seems like way back then, fragrance was really tied to religious ceremonies.
That makes sense.
You know, burning incense, using oils.
Right.
It was all about trying to connect with the gods.
Interesting.
But it wasn't just for that either.
Everyday life had all these smells.
Yeah, like I was reading about how the Egyptians, they used all these spices and oils in their rituals, and even when they were mummifying people.
Yeah, what's crazy is we even know about some of the very first perfumers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a woman named Taput from Mesopotamia around 1200 BCE.
Wow.
And she even figured out ways to extract scents.
That's impressive for back then.
I know, right? A true pioneer.
Yeah, shout out to Taput.
And the Egyptians were doing something similar even earlier, around 3000 BCE.
Wow.
They believed that these scents could help them communicate with the gods.
So it really was more than just smelling nice.
Exactly. It was powerful stuff.
Right, and it wasn't just like a general appreciation for nice smells, right?
No.
Like Cleopatra, she famously used perfume to show her status and power.
Oh yeah, she knew how to make an entrance.
Right. Can you imagine her arriving surrounded by these amazing exotic scents?
Total power move.
Yeah, so from these important uses in religion and displays of power, how did perfume change and spread?
Well, as trade routes opened up and different cultures interacted, perfume made its way to ancient Greece and Rome.
Okay.
It still had those religious connections, but it also became more part of daily life, like scented baths, using fragrance at parties and social events.
Okay.
So it really became a way to express yourself.
Interesting.
Like a cultural symbol.
Okay, so now let's jump ahead a bit.
Okay.
When most of us think about perfume today, France is probably the first place that comes to mind.
Oh, for sure.
So how did they become like the perfume capital?
Well, that's a great question. And the start of that story is kind of surprising.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So the town of Grasse, which is known as the heart of French perfume making, first became famous for making leather gloves.
Leather gloves?
Yeah, leather gloves.
How do we get from leather gloves to like Chanel No. 5?
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The process of tanning leather back then didn't smell so great.
I can imagine.
So the glove makers in Grasse, they started using fragrant oils and perfumes to cover up that smell.
Makes sense.
But then they realized that people really liked those scents. And gradually the whole area shifted from leather to perfume.
So it was like a practical solution to a smelly problem?
Exactly. That's so funny.
It's amazing how these things happen.
Totally. And then we have royalty.
Oh, yes.
Catherine de Medici, when she moved to France in the 16th century, she brought perfume to the French royal court.
Right. She had her own personal perfumers.
Fancy.
And that really started a trend.
So it was like the royals weren't just wearing it. They were setting the standard.
Right. They were the influencers of their time.
The original influencers.
Exactly. And then later on in the 17th and 18th centuries, you have Louis XIV.
Okay.
His court was actually called the perfumed court.
Wow.
They had to wear different scents for different days. even different times of day.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was a big part of court life and made perfume culture huge. Can you imagine having a different perfume for like every hour?
It's a lot.
Right. And then we fast forward to the 19th century, and there are these breakthroughs with synthetic ingredients.
Yeah, that's when modern perfume really took off.
Right.
And we got iconic perfumes like Chanel No. 5.
So it wasn't just history and the royals. There were also practical reasons why France, specifically grass, became so important.
Oh, for sure.
Like the geography.
Right. Grass has this perfect Mediterranean climate for growing those key perfume ingredients.
Oh, yeah, like jasmine.
Yeah, jasmine, lavender, roses, all of that.
So it's like having the best ingredients right there.
Exactly. It's a natural advantage.
And I bet they weren't shy about letting everyone know about all this amazing French perfume.
Not at all. They were marketing geniuses.
Right.
They built this whole image of perfume being connected to luxury, romance, sophistication.
Yeah, and it worked.
It really did.
Okay, so we've gone from ancient rituals to French royalty.
We have.
But Sunny, I gotta ask you something.
Yeah.
I've heard this rumor that back in the day, people in France didn't bathe very often, and that's why they wore so much perfume.
Okay, so that's a common thought. And it brings up some interesting things about hygiene back then.
Okay.
So not bathing a lot in like the 16th to 18th centuries wasn't just a French thing.
Oh.
It was more of a European thing.
Got it.
There were fears that water could spread diseases, and it wasn't easy to heat up water.
So it wasn't that the French just preferred to be a little fragrant?
Right. Even King Louis XIV is said to have only taken a couple of baths in his whole adult life.
Really?
Which shows you the hygiene habits back then.
Wow.
People all over Europe used perfume to mask body odor. It wasn't just France.
Okay.
It wasn't because they were naturally smellier than anyone else.
Right. It was just the hygiene practices of the time.
Exactly. Perfume was more about practicality than anything else.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
It's easy to look back now and make assumptions.
Totally. And it's important to remember that as things modernized in the 19th century, hygiene got better. Soap became more common. Indoor plumbing, and perfume shifted to being more about personal style and less about hiding smells.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've talked history, we've talked royalty.
Yeah.
We even busted some myths.
We did.
But now I want to talk books.
Yeah.
Because you can't talk about perfume without mentioning this famous and kind of creepy novel.
You're talking about Perfume, the story of a murderer.
Yes.
Such a good book. So disturbing.
It really is.
But so captivating.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't read it, what's it about?
Okay, so it's set in 18th century France, and it follows Jean-Baptiste Grenouille.
Okay.
He's an orphan with this incredible sense of smell, but he has no natural body odor himself.
Interesting.
He becomes a perfumer, but his obsession with capturing the perfect scent leads him to do some terrible things.
Like murdering people.
Yes, he murders young women to steal their unique scents.
It's dark.
It is really dark.
But it's also such a good read.
It is.
And you said it takes place in 18th century France. So it kind of ties into what we were talking about with the social differences and how people lived back then.
Absolutely. Susskind really paints a vivid picture of that time, the crowded cities, the sanitation issues.
It really sets the scene.
It does. And what's amazing is how popular this book became.
It's huge.
It sold over 20 million copies worldwide, been translated into almost 50 languages, and it's considered a major German bestseller of the 20th century.
That's incredible for such a unique story.
I know, right?
Okay, so what are some of the big themes in the book?
Well, one of the main ones is the power of scent.
Right.
Susskind really shows how smell can be this direct connection to our emotions and memories.
Yeah, there are so many parts in the book where a smell triggers a strong emotion or a memory.
Exactly. Like early on, Grenouille smells wood, as the book describes it.
Right.
And it's this really intense, overwhelming experience for him.
Yeah.
And later on, when he recreates a specific perfume for Baldini,
Oh, yeah.
it completely shocks Baldini and takes him right back to his younger days.
It's like scent unlocks these hidden parts of our minds.
It really does. And then there's the theme of obsession, which is so central to Grenouille's character.
Right.
His pursuit of this perfect fragrance shows how power can corrupt and the dangers of isolation.
Right. He gets so focused on his goal that he loses all sense of morality.
Exactly. And that isolation is another big theme.
Yeah.
Grenouille is an outsider because he's so different.
Right. The fact that he has no smell sets him apart.
Yes. And that reflects the class differences and social exclusion in 18th century France.
So it's like his amazing gift is also what isolates him.
It is both fascinating and disturbing.
And the book was made into a movie, right?
Yeah, it came out in 2006. and made over $135 million worldwide.
Wow. So the story still resonates with people.
It does, and for anyone who wants to go even deeper,
Yeah.
there are academic study guides out there.
Really?
Yeah, like a 54-page one from Super Summary.
Wow.
It shows how much there is to unpack in that book. I just want to give another shout out to Micky from Mickytolife. His channel is a treasure trove of inspiration, and he's a huge Sip&Talk fan.
Absolutely. Make sure to check him out and maybe even share your awesome podcast intro with him once you've created it. Okay, so we've gone from ancient rituals to French royalty to literary deep dives.
We have.
Now let's bring things to the present.
Okay.
And have a little debate.
Well, I like it.
Should people wear perfume? Okay, let's start with you. What are the arguments for wearing perfume?
Okay, so let's talk about the good stuff.
Okay.
Psychologically, there's evidence that certain scents can really lift your mood and lower your stress.
Okay.
For example, there's a study from 2005 in chemical senses. They looked at something called mood mapping.
Okay.
And they found that scents like lavender and lemon could really increase feelings of pleasure and relaxation.
Cool.
They even reported a 63% improvement in mood.
Wow, that's a big mood boost.
It is. So a little spritz could be like a mini aromatherapy session.
Interesting.
And it's not just how you feel, there's also the confidence factor.
Okay.
Studies have shown that people tend to pick perfumes that complement their natural body odor.
Right.
And when you feel like you smell good, you feel more confident and attractive.
Makes sense.
There's a study from 2012 in PLOS, one that found just that,
Okay.
and another PLOS. One study from 2019 showed that perfume can actually boost self-esteem and how attractive you seem to others, even if you already have high self-esteem.
Wow. So it's like an extra boost.
Exactly, and it goes beyond just feelings.
Oh.
There might even be some physical benefits.
Okay, tell me more.
Research from 2016 in the journal Sciences showed that volatile organic compounds, those are the molecules that give perfume its scent,
Right.
can actually affect your autonomic nervous system activity.
Okay.
That's the part of your nervous system that controls things like heart rate and breathing.
Got it.
And EEG studies have shown that relaxing scents like sandalwood and rose seem to calm down brain activity linked to stress.
Really?
And the increased activity linked to relaxation.
That's fast.
And a 2021 study from One Seed found that sandalwood essential oil could even lower blood pressure and heart rate.
So it's not just in our heads?
No, there could be real physical changes happening.
I'm sold. What else?
Well, that same One Seed study also said that lavender and chamomile could help you sleep better.
Nice.
And rose oil might help regulate your nervous system, potentially helping with things like depression and anxiety.
Okay, so maybe perfume is like a secret weapon.
Maybe. And let's not forget about the cultural and social aspects.
All right.
A 2022 study in cognitive research found that people like scented household products, not just for practical reasons, but for the experience they create.
Yeah.
And scent is really important for first impressions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's some research from the 80s that suggests that women wearing appropriate perfume made a better first impression in job interviews.
Okay, so it's like a little extra something that can help you out.
It can be.
Okay, you've made some really good points. So what about the arguments against wearing perfume?
Okay, well, one of the biggest concerns is the potential health risks.
Okay.
A 2020 study in Environmental Sciences Europe found that almost 20% of people reported being sensitive to perfume.
Wow.
And many of them experience breathing problems and irritation.
That's a lot of people.
It is.
Yeah.
And the sensitivity was even higher in people with autism, 75%.
Wow. So for some people, perfume isn't just a preference, it's a health issue.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of the chemicals themselves.
Oh, right.
A 2019 report in The Guardian highlighted concerns about synthetic musks and phthalates, which could potentially disrupt hormones and be linked to cancer and reproductive issues.
That's scary.
It is. And a 2018 study by Breast Cancer Prevention Partners found that 75% of toxic chemicals in personal care products came from fragrance ingredients. Yeah. And that includes known carcinogens and substances banned in the EU.
That's not good.
It's not. And for people who use a lot of perfume, the risk of exposure to these chemicals is really high.
Oh, wow.
A 2007 study in Belgium found that super users of perfume could have 10,000 times higher exposure to synthetic musks
10,000
compared to people who barely use any.
Okay, so we're talking about some potentially serious health consequences.
We are, and there are also potential psychological downsides.
Okay.
While some scents can boost mood for others, they can trigger negative feelings.
Right. Like that Guardian article also mentioned that around 35% of people report getting headaches or having trouble breathing because of perfume.
Exactly. And a study from Real Man Real Style in 2025 pointed out how our scent preferences are tied to our personal memories.
Yeah.
Like they gave the example of wintergreen smelling good to Americans, but bad to British people because of a certain brand of medicine.
So what smells amazing to one person could be terrible to another.
Exactly. It's so personal. And there can even be downsides in professional settings.
Oh, right.
Some research from the 80s suggested that male interviewers might react negatively to women wearing perfume,
Interesting.
seeing them as less professional.
So something meant to boost your confidence could actually work against you.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider.
Okay. And what about the impact on other people?
Yeah, we can't forget about that.
Right.
A 2016 study in PMC in Australia found that a third of people reported health problems from being exposed to fragrances in public places.
Wow.
Some even considered it a disability or would leave stores because of the smell.
That's intense.
And a 2016 study in Science Direct found that those volatile organic compounds in perfume can react with ozone and irritate people's respiratory systems.
Especially people with asthma.
Especially them. So it's not just about us, it's about the air we breathe and being mindful of others.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot to consider.
There is.
Is there any middle ground?
Well, I think moderation is key. Choosing perfumes with lower concentrations or natural ingredients could help.
Right.
And being mindful of where you are and who you're around.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's about making personal choices, but being thoughtful about how they might affect others.
I like that.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've really covered a lot today.
we have.
From the history of perfume
Mm-hmm.
to how France became the perfume capital,
Right.
to that fascinating but dark book, Perfume,
Yeah.
and this whole debate about whether we should even be wearing perfume.
So much to think about.
It really is. And before we wrap up, I wanted to give a shout out to our friend Micky.
Oh, yeah, Mickey.
He has an awesome YouTube channel.
I love his channel.
It's called Mickytolife,
Yes.
and he posts these really cool travel vlogs.
I love those.
Yeah, he's always off on these adventures.
He is such a free spirit.
And he does these fun whiskey unboxing videos.
Oh, yeah. He knows his whiskey.
And he shares his own music.
He's so talented. Perfect for relaxing.
Seriously, if you're into travel good drinks or just discovering new music,
Definitely check him out.
yeah, go subscribe to Mickytolife on YouTube.
You won't regret it.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
Awesome.
So as we finish this deep dive into the world of fragrance,
Yeah.
it really makes you think about how much scent plays a role in our lives.
It does, even if we don't always realize it.
Right, from ancient rituals to a quick spray before you leave the house.
Yeah.
Fragrance has this power to evoke memories, influence moods, and say something about who we are.
It's more than just smelling good.
So much more.
It really highlights how something so simple can have such a rich history and spark so much debate.
It really does.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on this fragrant journey.
It was fun.
Until next time.